time for At the Movies with Tim Sika. You have a lot of movies to talk about, and one of them has Leonardo DiCaprio. I was just reading a story about him saying that when he first started out, there was some type of agent or someone who said his name sounded too ethnic.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Change his name, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, I think they wanted him to be called Lenny Williams, I believe. Which he doesn't quite look like a Lenny Williams to me. I don't know.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But here.
Yeah, so he kept his name. Yeah, he kept it. And he's in this big movie, that everybody's talking about called One Battle After Another. If all the critical love and online audience praise is to be believed, One Battle After Another is like the new Citizen Kane, the greatest movie since Gone with the Wind or The Wizard of Oz or 2001: A Space Odyssey or whatever fill in the blank great film you want to insert there. This one's written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and I'm a fan of his work overall. I got to say that, though, if I didn't take any notes while I was watching this movie, I want to emphasize that I saw this film the way in which the director intended for us to see it, in IMAX, 70 millimeter. I'd be, at this stage anyway, hard put to tell you what it was even about. but I'm going to try. Okay, so first of all, it's based on this 1990 novel called Vineland, which Paul Thomas Anderson adapted here. Actionary explosives maker, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who's front and center in the poster there, who's out to zealously protect, and then ultimately rescue his daughter from this corrupt military official, a U.S. colonel played by Sean Penn. There's a lot of plot here, in fact, which honestly I couldn't even begin to summarize, let alone comment upon. But my basic problem with One Battle After Another, well, there's two basic problems. One, and again, I know people get tired of me talking about this, but I can't help it's overuse of score, mostly. And it's a brilliant score by Johnny Greenwood, the director's go-to composer. The guy is a genius composer. I have to admit his music is great. But the usage of the music kept taking me out of the picture. I became far too aware of the film's mechanics, which are supposed to be ideally, in my opinion, invisible, so much so that the movie became irritating. The director's use of extreme close-ups too drove me crazy, especially in IMAX. When it was all over, I had no idea what my takeaway was supposed to be. In other words, at least initially to me, this movie was all style, no substance, or if there was substance, I completely missed it. I do tend to think, in all probability, that there was some stuff kicking around the perimeters of the story, which had some relevance to what's going on in the country today. All this insane anti-immigration garbage being espoused by MAGA, for one. But I couldn't understand the motivation of the characters. The betrayals within this revolutionary group that DiCaprio's character belonged to. The narrative was all over the place. A chunk of it I found kind of predictable. Sean Penn is being really praised for his performance. He'll probably win the Oscar, but I found his performance very, quote unquote, actorly. I mean, with every line, utterance, and breath and movement, to me, Penn seemed to be reminding the audience that he was, quote unquote, acting. His technique was so in your face, much like this film, that it was distracting, and it pulled you smack right out of the film itself. So even though I felt this movie was on occasion a kind of bravura and at times exhilarating cinematic exercise, I just didn't like it. I had too many questions about it when it was over. However, and I'm going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, I have to recommend it because I have to admit, even though I just didn't get it, however frustrating I found the movie to be, I was never bored for a second. And we're looking at a 2-hour and 42-minute long movie here. So I don't know, there was some disconnect for me personally, but as a movie experience, you're not going to be bored if you decide to go see this movie. I mean, it moves like a lightning rod, you know?
Huh,
So,
okay.
yeah, I don't know if what I said made any sense.
So
But,
given the poster, I would think it's your typical shoot 'em up kind of action movie. Is it different than that?
there's some shoot 'em up action scenes, but I would say it's different. Yeah, it's Paul
Okay.
Thomas Anderson. He's a very, very singular and individualistic filmmaker. I don't know if you've ever seen Magnolia or Boogie Nights
Mhm.
or There Will Be Blood or The Master. I'm a fan of his work as a rule. This, I think it's just going to take me getting used to and going back and seeing it again, which I will, of course, because of the dedicated professional I am and because I vote in various groups. Yeah, it looks like from the hype right now, everybody's convinced this is going to take all the awards at Oscar
Oh,
time. But we'll
all right.
see. We'll see. It could just be hype. I'm also resistant when everybody. I mean, when everybody likes a movie like this so much. I
Mhm.
think on Metacritic, I think this overall score was 96, and I've never seen a movie score so high.
Are you just
So
being contrarian, Tim?
no, I really went. I know. I know. I went with a friend who just went nuts, and we both had a very spirited discussion on the way back to San Jose from San Francisco. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I'm an apologist as a rule, for this guy's movies. I think I don't know. You know what, Kim? I say this all the time, but sometimes I just think it's like too many movies. I'm seeing too many movies, and when you see a lot of movies, sometimes you don't know whether you're coming or going, and you can't really trust your initial
Mhm.
reactions. So I'm giving this movie the benefit of the doubt. That's why I'm recommending it. Like I say, it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I don't think I was bored for a second. I just was irritated all through the movie and going, who are these people? What's going on? Why, where are their loyalties? What the hell is this supposed to be about? I didn't get it. That doesn't mean that it wasn't there. So I'm giving the movie the benefit of the doubt, and I'll see it again. I'll see it again.
B.A.
And
Ware
and
said,
and and you'll be
"My."
the first. You'll be the first to know.
Yeah.
If I change my opinion. How's that?
B.A. Ware says, "Michael liked it, Tim does not, so I'm gonna have to watch this one to see who has better taste."
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if taste has anything to do with it, but it could. Like I say, I love Paul Thomas Anderson's films.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, it just seemed too flashy, and I wanted to go. Okay, I get that you know movie technique, movie editing, the kinds of things that are going to hit people. But you know what? It's like, to me, it was like so in your face. Like I wanted to just say, dial it down, would you? But maybe that was the point. That's the other thing too. I haven't read anything about this movie except the fact that Steven Spielberg apparently has seen it 3 times already and is
Oh.
comparing it to Doctor Strangelove, which I don't get at all. But it's got Spielberg's stamp of approval, and you can see that he's really pushing for the movie. I think to win awards, and I know what film he's going to vote for Best Picture based on what he said. But maybe I have to see it 3 times, I don't know. But
I'm
I
seeing
still don't get what people are getting out of this movie,
I'm seeing messages in the chat about really bad audio and that my sound is cutting up. Are you
Really?
are you
No,
noticing that I'm cutting up?
no, I'm hearing you
Oh,
loud and clear.
all right. Well, I
I'm
don't know
actually
what
getting
happened.
some of the best sound I've ever gotten from you today.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I don't know how to fix that. So there you have
Uh,
it.
yeah.
Um, okay. Oh, Man from the West 420 says Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was great with DiCaprio and Brad Pitt as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Quentin Tarantino movie. Yeah, excellent movie. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that movie won our San Francisco Film Critics Circle Best Film
Oh.
Award the year it came out. Yeah.
So this next movie stars a woman who I saw, and I forget the name of the movie, but you turned me
Thelma.
on to it. Thelma, and I took
Thelma.
my mom
Thelma.
to see it, and we had the best time. And now
Yeah.
here she is again with Eleanor the Great.
Yeah, what a strange movie this is, Eleanor the Great. It's also borderline bizarre. But for 2 reasons, I'm going to recommend it. 1, because it's just so plain nuts, and 2, because of its lead performance. And so this is about a woman 95-year-old actor June Squibb. She plays the titular Eleanor, a woman who takes on the identity of her Jewish best friend, a Holocaust survivor, with whom she shares an apartment, but who passes away early into the film. And Eleanor does this by accidentally stumbling into this support group at the JCC for Holocaust survivors. She winds up sharing the story of her deceased roommate, but the people in the support group think it's about her and her experience. Now, the subject of this movie, preserving the memory of the Holocaust, is such an important one. But the treatment here of that theme is weird. It's just weird. The script, in my opinion, needed a whole bunch of rewrites. I mean, maybe it would have worked better at some rewritten stage. Maybe the final version read better than this film version plays. Who knows? I should also mention that this is actress Scarlett Johansson's feature film directorial debut, but it's a mess of tones and intentions. It presents an argument that I think could be a lawyer's wet dream, that under some conditions, deception isn't always bad if the intention of the person deceiving is pure. I don't know. The film also appears to be exploring the notion of grief and how, burying grief does no good to anyone. What else? There's a sincerity here about this movie's approach that's kind of admirable. But it's the weirdest film about the Holocaust I think anybody will ever see. But aside from a testimonial or two from the Holocaust survivor whose identity Eleanor steals, it all just leaves this mystifying taste in your mouth. However, I recommend it for two reasons. Well, I guess no, three. It's subject matter, of course, which in my opinion, we can never get enough of, especially with all the misinformation and lies being espoused by MAGA. Two, the fact that the script is so outright bizarre. And three, the real reason to see it, 95-year-old June Squibb, who is a poster woman for longevity, a poster woman for screen magnetism and talent. And her endearing and funny and lovable performance makes you actually believe that this is a credible story. She is amazing. I loved her in this. I would see the film just to watch her dig into. She's got some great lines. She plays a very sassy character who can come up with quips really quickly. She likes to be very sarcastic a lot of the time to put people down, but she's so sweet and she's so funny that June Squibb is the real reason to see Eleanor the Great. So yeah,
I think last time we talked about June that she didn't start acting until really late in life.
Well, movies. She didn't start acting in movies till late in life. She began early in her career on stage. She actually began her career at the Cleveland Playhouse, which is where I was born. In the town I was born, the Cleveland Playhouse gave birth to a lot of famous actors. Well, June Squibb, but later in life, but Paul Newman and Ray Walston, and a whole bunch of other famous people I just can't think of right now. So she had a lot of theatrical training. She did a lot of musicals in her early days, and she just stuck with it. And I think it was it Nebraska, the movie, where she actually got an Oscar nomination for her performance. And she's I love her. I just love her. And watching her in this movie was just a treat that, it was one of the most enjoyable things I've seen in movies so far this year, just watching this woman. And, she uses a cane in the film, I think probably because she needed to, because she's 95.
Sure.
I had the opportunity to interview her for Thelma, and she was just a delight, and, makes you think, my God, I bitch and moan about this and that, and I'm like 30 years younger than this woman. And here she is with the twinkle in her eye and the energy of like a woman 50 years younger than she actually is. Yeah. So I think the movie is worth seeing for June Squibb for sure. Yeah. And despite all the problems I had with the script and the tone, God, what a weird movie it was. Anyway.
Next one is called The Dead of Winter.
Speaking of lead performances, which are the main reasons to see a movie whose script may not live up to the excellence of that lead performance, we have Dead of Night up next, which stars Emma Thompson, who deserves an Oscar nomination for what she does here in this movie. This is a movie whose music score by Vocal Bertelmann right from the get-go announces that what we're about to see is going to be a corker of a thriller. And in this movie, which takes place in Minnesota, wintry Minnesota, that poster captures what this movie feels like, because it has echoes of Fargo in it too, running all through it, both in its physical terrain and in the accents of all the actors. Emma Thompson, who delivers this astonishingly physical performance, plays this grief-stricken widow who's en route to a lake where she wants to scatter her deceased husband's ashes in the dead of winter, but she gets lost. So she stops by this remote cabin to get directions and soon finds herself engulfed in this effort to free a kidnapped young woman who is slated to be killed by the inhabitants of this cabin, a grizzled old enabler guy and his fentanyl-addicted psychopathic wife.
Ooh.
So, yeah, and the script of this movie has all kinds of eye-rolling moments in terms of the characters doing unthinkably stupid things. You know, you're going, what the... You know, why didn't they do this? And why did they go in there when they knew what was it? That kind of stuff. But this is a very well-directed movie. Irish filmmaker Brian Kirk is the helmer here. The setting is effective. You can literally feel the cold, which I haven't felt to the extent since watching Dr. Zhivago. It's atmospheric with a capital A. It's very entertaining, very tense. In short, it's highly effective as a thriller. And whatever misgivings I have about the script, the film is anchored by some really great performances. Judy Greer as the fentanyl-addicted psychopath is amazing. I mean, Judy Greer usually plays sweet ingenue types of women. She's a revelation in this movie. And Emma Thompson as the 60-something woman who is like a real-life superhero insofar as the lengths to which she will go and goes in order to save this young woman being held captive by this pair of lunatics. So it's the kind of movie that for me falls under the category a rattling good tale. So I recommend it mostly for the performances and just how this movie makes you feel. I mean, it's a nail biter, really. And the ending is pretty dark.
Do you think surprised. It's a horror movie or an action thriller movie? It's
actually all, I guess you could say it's actually all those things. The finale on the ice is a borderline horror, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's if I had to categorize it, I'd say it's more of a thriller.
Okay.
Yeah, but really, really good, really effective, you know.
So your classic movie wreck of the week. I had found two pictures. You have to tell me the right.
I knew I should have sent it to you because I thought, okay, there's so many movies named Deja Vu, but no, it's not that one. That's the one.
Okay,
that is the one.
All right.
I think from 1997, I think 28 Years classifies as a classic from 1997. Deja Vu. Well, in my mind, this movie is a classic, certainly an indie classic. It's from the late Henry Jaglom, who passed away at the age of 87 4 days ago at his home in Southern California, surrounded by his family. And that's another reason I'm choosing this movie to recommend for the week, to celebrate and commemorate one of the most distinctive and original film artists the medium has ever known. So for this movie is for lovers of romantic dramas, and I know you are. Mm-hmm. This is a must-see, and probably my personal favorite of all of Henry Jaglom's movies. Certainly, I think it's his most accessible, from a guy whose work, especially his films centered on women and the psychology of women, like Eating, Baby Fever, Going Shopping, Can She Bake a Cherry Pie? His later work with actress muse Tana Frederick, Hollywood Dreams, Irene in Time, Queen of the Lot, was some of the most personal, singular, and unique work in all of film, in my opinion. So, and this guy was a true artist in that his films were largely made outside of the studio system entirely and 100% uncompromising in terms of their style and their content. I was a great fan of his work, but this movie, I mean, talk about transporting a romantic drama about a man and a woman played by Stephen Delane and Victoria Foyt, whose picture we're looking at there. That was Jaglom's second wife. And the screenplay was also written by her and Jaglam. But it's about a man and a woman who meet and fall in love at first sight, but who are each married to someone else when the movie starts. So this is both. How can I? This is. There's something very carnal about this movie, but also something very spiritual about this movie that implies reincarnation is a possible explanation for two people meeting and instantly clicking as if they've met before and knowing in their gut that they're right for each other, but because of their personal life situations can't or won't get together. It's like they fit, but what's currently surrounding the two of them doesn't fit, and yet in some way they are still destined to be together in some kind of mystical way. And I love that premise. The script implies that a spiritual kind of completeness has to take place in order for the relationship of these two people to be meaningful and healing in a cosmic sense. The use of the Schubert Serenade, it's one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever composed, becomes the emotional glue that holds this film together. And Jaglam's use of this gorgeous music even manages, in my opinion, to outdo Rachmaninoff's Variations on a Theme by Paganini that was used in Somewhere in Time. You know, that famous romantic theme. I just loved this film. It was actually my first exposure to the films from Henry Jaglam, which then resulted in a study of all the man's previous and subsequent work on film. If you love romantic dramas, Vanessa Redgrave is in this too, and Anna Massey and Noel Harrison and Rachel Kempson. If you love romantic dramas, you can't get much better than Deja Vu, which is streaming for free on Fossum TV and Roku. If you go on IMDb, you know, click on Deja Vu and you scroll down, it'll tell you that it's available on Fossum TV. Just click on that Fossum TV icon and it'll take you right to the movie. Takes you right to the movie.
Fossum TV.
FAWESOME. I don't know what that means. FAWESOMTV.
Oh, like
yeah,
F if you awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it is. F awesome. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get that. But if you go on the IMDb Deja Vu page and you click on that Fossum TV thing, it takes you right to the movie. And I don't think there's any interruptions because I looked at the running time, and the running time is the running time of the movie. So it seems like you can get it free without any commercial interruptions, which I think is really
never
cool.
seen this movie, so I have to
Not many people have.
Yeah.
Now, it's very idiosyncratic.
Okay.
You know, some people just think I'm insane for liking Henry Jaglam's movies because his films are very polarizing. But this one, I think, is his most accessible in terms of just the story that it's so beautifully telling. I loved it. I really, and you know, Godspeed Henry Jaglam, who passed away just 4 days ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we have the recap, my friend. One battle after another. The music was distracting to you and irritating, and the close-ups annoyed you. You said this movie was all style and no substance. The motivation of the characters was questionable. You did not like it, but even so, you said you must recommend it because it's not boring, even though you didn't connect with this movie. So you do recommend One Battle After Another, even though it wasn't your jam.
You know, it's so funny, Kim, when you do these like summaries, and I'm going, God, if I remove the fact that I've actually said that, I go, God, that guy sounds so cranky and so petty. Whoever's saying those things. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Eleanor the Great, you said this is a strange movie, but you recommend it. Weirdest movie about the Holocaust you'll find, but you said it left you with a mystifying taste. And you say, see this movie if only because of June Squibb, the 95-year-old actress that stars. That is Eleanor the Great. Dead of Winter, chilly cold. You said of this movie, well directed, a great chilly setting, very entertaining, highly effective, that Emma Thompson is great in this movie, and you recommend it if only because of the performances. Dead of winter.
Yeah.
And your classic movie rec of the week is a rom-com. It's like you were thinking just of me, my friend. You
There you
said there's
go.
spiritual nature to this movie. The music enhances this experience. You loved Deja Vu from 1997, not to be confused with other similarly named movies. And then if you like romantic dramas, you said you've got to see this one, and it's streaming for free on Roku and on Fossum, Fossum, which you can get to by going to IMDb and then scrolling to the bottom. So there you go.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah,
Perfect. Perfect. Hey, we
I
did it.
love it. And I'm going to watch this movie this weekend. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I can't wait. I can't wait to find out what you think of it. So be sure to tell me. I'll remember to ask you about it.
At the movies with Tim Sika. He has done it again, and I'm so grateful. A lot of people in the comments talking about movies, and it's one of the Yvonne says, "Yeah, I've never seen Deja Vu. Got to go look for it now." Absolutely. John says your review of One Battle reminded me of your review of Megalopolis.
Yeah,
Hey, when you
yeah. I
don't like
guess so.
something and you don't connect with something, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But I think that we're all going to be they're going to get a lot of clicks on Fossum this weekend because we're all going to have to go back and watch this movie. So thank you for giving me something interesting to check out.
You're very welcome, Kim, and I will talk to you next week.
At the movies with Tim Sika. Bye, my friend.
Bye, Kim.